Alright, ladies and gentlemen, now that we have this $200 PC all booted up and ready to go, let's talk about some benchmarks real quick. Now, we decided to test PC in a couple of titles, those being Valorant, Fortnite, Rocket League, and Minecraft. I decided to test these games because I thought this PC would be ideal for these sorts of lower-end titles, considering all the marketing material for this combo was showing that it's great for League of Legends, but it didn't do too great, I'll be perfectly honest with you. First up, in Valorant at 1080p on low settings, we didn't get a great experience. It was pretty stuttery and all over the place. We couldn't get the settings any lower than they were, and 720p actually didn't make any difference whatsoever, mainly showing me that this is very CPU bound, which normally does help you with other CPUs like a 5600G because the actual CPU power is strong, but in this situation, there's no, help at all. So that wasn't too encouraging for the rest of the benchmarks, and Fortnite, just did not work. I'm not sure if it was a driver issue with the new season or what, but as you can see on screen here, we're getting a bunch of color issues. I managed to get rid of the color issues once by going into full screen mode, but then after that, when I set to performance mode and restarted, I could not get it back to normal. It was just messing up all the time. Never crashed or anything, but those colors just made it unplayable, and I just deemed Fortnite a total failure. Next up, in Rocket League, we decided to go to 720p for everything because 1080p just didn't seem like a viable option, and we only got about 50 FPS with the CPU and GPU being maxed out. It was playable. It wasn't great. It looks very, very bad. I think a mobile game probably looks better than this thing, if I'm being perfectly honest, but it was playable at 720p, and getting 50 FPS is something, I guess. And the last game we decided to test because, it's a game that should run on anything, right? Minecraft at 720p on a wide range of settings. As you can see here, I'm trying absolutely everything to try to make this thing run a little bit better. We're only getting 10 to 60 FPS. It was very slow to load in chunks, which is obvious in Minecraft. You could lower the render distance all the way down to nothing and it would be a little bit more stable, but just moving around at all just caused a ton of lag. Now, yes, this whole combo with CPU, RAM, and the motherboard is only $100, which isn't much to ask, but I would really be hard-pressed to think that even like a second or third gen combo i5 or even an i3 with a very low-end GT 710 would perform way better than this in a game like Minecraft. But if you're in another country and you cannot pick up those really good used deals, I'm assuming this is probably the best you can get for an office PC that can, play games on the side. Not great, but it's a very easy solution that is low power and super easy to build with. So I do think it has a place in the market as an office setup, but for gaming, I would not make this your priority whatsoever. Now, before I finish the benchmarking section, I did decide to dive into the BIOS a little bit. I do want to clarify again, this did come with 16 gigs of RAM and not 8. There will be a correction during the time-lapse that you already saw, but I could have swore I purchased a listing that only had 8 gigs of RAM, but we got 16, so that's cool. Your mileage may vary, but the BIOS is super limited. The only setting that I saw that looked like it could help a little bit is this FB location setting. I switched it on to above 4G, which I'm assuming is 4 gigs, and it didn't really do anything. I thought that was like a RAM usage thing for the APU, but no real performance difference there. But it's just a very stock BIOS. You can do some RAM tweaking if you wanted to, but I don't think any RAM speed or RAM tweaking is going to really help this thing all that much. It is just a very poorly working CPU. It works for office tasks, but it's just not going to cut it for modern gaming. So overall, for $200, this isn't the best thing we've ever put together, but in 2021, it's kind of fitting to have this for $200 be absolutely, not really good for gaming. So let me know what you think down below, and if you're considering picking these up, always there'll be a link in the description down below. But yeah, more of an office PC than it is a gaming PC, but hey, at least it looks pretty cool, right? How about we bring Jackson back in here to wrap this video up real quick?